Welcome back, Love Nation. This is Nina. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everybody that has been coming to my channel. Like this video, share this video, and hit that notification bell so you guys know when I drop my next one. You guys, we are now into part 5 of reading this amended Diddy lawsuit that has now added more celebrity names, and this story is going absolutely viral. Now, again, I am just reading the lawsuit. These right now are civil complaint allegations, and we're just going to get straight into this. Some words, again, will be coded for YouTube purposes. And now let's get started with part 5. If you have not seen my previous videos, please like, share, subscribe, and go back and watch the other videos. This lawsuit is absolutely salacious. Let's get straight into this next section. Plaintiffs John and Jane Doe's. Plaintiffs John and Jane Doe are mother and son. Plaintiffs were taken from their Las Vegas residence by defendant Pelletier as they walked to their vehicle. Defendant Pelletier put a pow-pow to plaintiff John Doe's back and instructed him to get into a black SUV regarding extraditing plaintiff for warrants to California. Plaintiffs did not have any warrants nor convictions. Plaintiff demanded to be shown the warrants, and defendant Pelletier refused and threatened to pow plaintiff if they protested further. In the back of the black SUV was defendant Valdez. Defendant was unknown to plaintiffs at the time. Defendant was dressed in dark clothes and instructed plaintiffs not to look at him. Plaintiffs were then transported to what they believe was defendant Pelletier's residence at blank, this was blacked out, Bay Street, Las Vegas. Plaintiffs were ordered inside and brought into a living room and forced to sit on a couch and were physically restrained. Plaintiffs demanded to speak to their attorney, which was refused, ignored, or met with threats of putting hands on people. It became obvious to plaintiffs that this was not a legal arrest and that Pelletier was acting outside of color of law. At some point thereafter, plaintiffs were ordered back of a large black SUV. Defendant Gonzalez was given the keys to plaintiff's vehicle, a SUV, to follow behind the SUV. Defendants Gonzalez and Pelletier had a list, which upon information and belief was a list of safe houses, which they could allow parties a safe respite undetected. Defendant Pelletier appeared to be in charge, and he and defendant Valdez were both giving out orders to the other conspirator defendants. Plaintiffs overhear repeated conversations in the vehicle while being taken against their will and transported about, following protocol made by defendant Pelletier and others. Upon information and belief, this protocol was agreed upon codes, including the use of communication apps like WhatsApp and or Snapchat, satellite phones, and referring to other co-conspirators, defendants by their middle names. It was apparent to plaintiffs this was a professional operation syndicate. Plaintiffs were then trafficked from Las Vegas, Nevada to various locations throughout California. The first location plaintiffs were able to identify was in Danville, California. In the convoy with the SUV plaintiffs were placed in also included plaintiff's SUV that was driven by defendant Gonzalez. Upon information and belief, defendant KK was in another SUV part of the convoy. At some point, defendant Gonzalez complained he had trouble keeping up with the convoy of black SUVs because the SUV ran poorly. Plaintiffs alleged that the convoy drive was for numerous hours, but the exact time was uncertain as they were unable to keep adequate track of time. The next location, plaintiffs were taken among the safe houses on their route to an unknown destination was this is blacked out, Danville, California. Plaintiff heard some altercation with the owners of the house, not wanting to be involved with defendant's scheme. Plaintiffs attempted to plead to the owners for help and could not understand why they wouldn't heed plaintiffs' cries for help. Plaintiffs heard the owners speak a foreign language, which they believed was Farsi. And if you don't know, Farsi is a type of language. I cannot remember which country that dialect is normal for. If you know in the comments, leave it below. Let's continue. Upon information and belief, this location was approximately 20 miles from the home in Orinda, where plaintiff's partum was, the incident happened. During the transportation of plaintiffs across state lines, they were given water to drink, which plaintiffs believed was pharmaceutical. Defendant Valdez would provide plaintiffs the water, which after drinking, plaintiffs would feel slightly euphoric, dizzy, and then sick. Defendant Valdez would demand plaintiffs drink the water, but they refused and or faked consumption. During the transportation, plaintiffs were forced to listen to a device with music similar to a device associated with defendant's KK nonprofit organization, Music Beats Hearts, in order to prevent plaintiffs from eavesdropping on the defendant's conversations. At certain times, the music stopped playing, and plaintiff's John Doe was able to get the earbuds partially out of one ear without defendants noticing to hear conversations about the plans they had for plaintiffs. Plaintiffs were taken to another location at blank blank El Cerrito, California. Plaintiffs were able to keep track of their location by remembering cross streets when they were finally let out of the vehicle for stops. At this location, plaintiffs observed a RV arrive at the residence. During this stop is when plaintiffs noticed defendant KK was part of the convoy. At this stop, plaintiff overheard defendant KK being referred to as her code name, believed to be her middle name, Natasha, discussing visiting the UC Berkeley campus, as defendant seemed very familiar with the area and with the city. Upon information and belief, this location was approximately 7 miles from the home in Orinda, where plaintiff was accrued. Plaintiffs were then taken to another location at the Beacon Grand Hotel, Sir Francis Drake. Defendant Shane worked at the hotel as a manager. Plaintiffs were taken into the hotel through what appeared to be the side entrance by defendants Valdez, Pelletier, and Gonzalez. Defendant Pelletier told the co-conspirator defendants he would stay at a different hotel nearby so it wouldn't be linked to him. Once inside the hotel, plaintiffs had hands put on them and were pharmaceutical by defendants Valdez and Gonzalez. Plaintiffs pleaded with Valdez and Gonzalez to be released and for mercy. Defendants Valdez and Gonzalez instructed plaintiffs to sign paperwork at Pow Pow Point. When plaintiffs refused, defendant Gonzalez would put hands on them using the metal weapon, plaintiffs on the back of their heads. Defendant Gonzalez eventually gave plaintiffs a drink, which caused them to pass out. Plaintiffs spent the night at the hotel with defendants Gonzalez and Valdez, taking turns watching them. The next morning, plaintiffs were restrained and bound by their hands in front and were placed into a vehicle. Plaintiffs then saw defendants Jaguar Wright and Helena. Upon information and belief, defendants Jaguar and Helena were in a small sedan, light color, white or beige. Plaintiffs were then transported to the location of plaintiffs' parums. I don't want to use that word. I'll just say SA on Luma Vista Drive by defendants Jaguar and Helena. Defendant Helena was the driver and defendant Jaguar was the passenger. Defendant Helena warned plaintiffs if they tried to escape or run that she would have to pow pow you. Defendant Helena also warned plaintiffs not to throw up in her vehicle, saying, "You better not throw up in my car or get sick." Defendant Helena mentioned having two partners as backup who were bounty hunters. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena as she had filed a lawsuit against superstar singer Michael Jackson in 2005 and filed a creditor's claim against the Jackson estate upon his untimely demise in 2009. Plaintiffs were familiar with defendant Helena from her previous Michael Jackson lawsuit and had previously met with defendant at her home in West Hollywood to determine her credibility of her claims and if they were similar in nature to plaintiffs. Plaintiff had reported defendant Helena multiple times to the LA and OC FBI field offices for her role in the crime syndicate with defendants Pelletier, Valdez, and other individuals. I am going to stop right there as we get more into the Helena and Jaguar Wright alleged questionability with this lawsuit and get more into what happened as these plaintiffs are now going into this Jaguar Wright and Helena situation. Share your comments below, you guys. What do you think? Like, share, subscribe. Stay tuned for part 6 and enjoy your day. Bye, guys.